You are tuned to Anubhav 2.0 podcast from senior citizens, catalyzed and supported by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, through National Institutes for Social Defense and Media for Community Foundation. The project is conceived and designed by Dr. R. Sridhar and supported by Ashish Tiwari, Pooja Murada, Sai Sudha, and Kaushalya.
கூடுங்கள் கேளுங்கள் நண்பர்களே, இளமையில் நாம் செய்ய நினைத்ததை முதுமையில் செய்ய இயலுமே என்று வாருங்கள் வாருங்கள் நண்பர்களே, கூடுங்கள் கேளுங்கள் நண்பர்களே. கோவைவானில் ஒன்றாய் கூடி சிந்திப்போம், கேட்போம், மகிழ்வோம், சிந்திப்போம், கேட்போம், மகிழ்வோம்.
Welcome to an inspiring podcast by our very own Covaivani star, Mrs. Revathi Bhaskar. This podcast is a treasure trove of life experiences and a wonderful blend of wisdom and reflections. She beautifully weaves together memories, insights, and timeless lessons that resonate with all generations. We would like to extend our humble thanks to Mr. Kalam Babu and Team Hydro, the official podcast for readers and writers from Hyderabad, where this was originally podcasted as an inaugural episode. Tune in and enjoy a nostalgic journey through time and culture. Thank you.
Hello, listeners. This is Kalam Babu inviting you to our first podcast episode where we have the pleasure of hearing from a remarkable senior lady who shares her heartfelt reflections on family, literature, and the evolving landscape of reading. Who is this remarkable lady? Revathi Bhaskar, an economist, a banker for 30 years. She has since managed the secretariat of a district governor of Rotary International, coordinated campus placements for an engineering institution, and has also been associated with a 5 crore rupee project of the Government of India. Revathi was one of the frequent winners in the country's first ever interactive novel contest organized by Hydra and Story Mirror. She was adjudged a runner-up for the Editor's Choice Author of the Year 2022 awarded by Story Mirror. Revathi's poems and short stories have featured in anthologies. Baker's Dozen, a collection of 13 short stories, was her maiden book, published and launched in June 2023. Her hobbies include gardening and conducting game shows. Revathi takes us on a nostalgic journey through the books that shaped her family's love for literature, contrasting the immersive charm of physical books with the digital age's fleeting focus. Join us as we delve into her wisdom on the importance of literature in shaping critical thinking and creativity, all framed by her personal anecdotes and memorable quotes.
Hello, listeners. I'm indeed privileged and I should say honored to be featured in the inaugural episode of a series of podcasts by Hydra. Thank you, Mehboob Hussain ji, Aka Kalam Babu or Kalam Babu, though both names are very apt, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my experiences. Just a few days back, we had a family get together with my daughters and granddaughters after a very long time. What gave me the most joy in our reunion was to see that each of my children, including my grandkids, had a book which was being read as if there was no tomorrow. A book would be picked up and kept down only when it was fully read. Sometimes I wondered whether they had merely skimmed through the pages, but no, it wasn't so. They could recollect each and every phase and were happy to even analyze its intrinsic positive, negative, or neutral connotation. I was thrilled to see them thus, and I felt elated that I had indeed added a small grain of sand to the ocean of their knowledge. As a parent who had to manage both home and office, it was challenging to spend quality time with both children as well as those who were in their second childhood at home. I remember that a chunk of my monthly salary in those days would be spent on buying new storybooks for the children. And what is so very satisfying today is that the books bought about 50 years back are still being enjoyed by the next generation. The glossy, colorful covers of the fairy tale books, the rough texture of the books on Russian tales, Children's Digest, Tinkle, Chanda Mama, and later on the series of Amar Chitrakatha, all of them bring back nostalgic memories. All of us as a family could relate to each story, be it of Ganesha, Red Riding Hood, or King Midas, because they were related n number of times to the kids in a sing song fashion. I had been rebuked by many a colleague when I would go to the bookstore on payday. I would try to tell them that literature needs to be respected as it reflects human experiences and is also a storehouse of diverse cultures, ideas, traditions, customs, and emotions. Book reading, in turn, improves writing, communication, and analytical thinking. These would open up new avenues for critical thinking and creativity, among others. As a grandmother now, I can see the digital media has so impacted the current generation that when people old and young meet, all of them are glued to their mobiles or iPads. Of course, one cannot deny the welcome effects such as easy access to information, books, etc., from anywhere at little or no cost, various interactive apps and tools, multimedia, and so on. The most useful positive effect, I feel, is that of the convenience in reading from digital media vis a vis printed books. Most elders, in particular, prefer to read on Kindle or on their laptop or desktop, which they find to be hassle free. They could change the font as and how they wanted. For those whose hearing faculty is good, the option of audiobooks is simply the best. Of course, there have been inroads in physical book reading, but this is offset by several virtual book clubs where people and even children have the opportunity to discuss books and review them. There are many ways by which we could keep the art of reading alive, right from the time a child is able to understand. I have also had the immense pleasure of owning storybooks with pop up pictures some 70 years back. I can vividly remember the feel of the pages, the varied colors, including the characters of Cinderella, Jack of the Beanstalk, and others, neatly folded but coming to life when the book was opened. I am thankful to my parents for kindling and indulging my appetite for books. As an infant, I heard my mother sing nursery rhymes as a lullaby, and I was thrilled to hear the same when it was read out to me when I grew up when I was little older. I could emulate my mother, and both my daughters grew up to be avid readers. It is but natural that the next generation has been nurtured in the same manner, and as I said earlier, their passion for books and reading has reached a new high. Whenever we could snatch time, which would usually be when there was a power outage, we would play word or story building and memory games where we had to recollect names of books, authors, etc. This kept the spirit alive in the kids, and their interest in literature grew. As a working parent, I had to steal quality time to spend with children as the whole day would just fly handling routine chores and to do lists. Thankfully, I was fortunate I could come home in the afternoons for a short break and read out stories to my daughters while having lunch. This still remains one of my cherished memories till date. This effectively served two purposes. Firstly, they would eat faster than if left to themselves, and secondly, they would eat happily till full without any tantrums. As children grew up, they were free to choose the genres they found interesting and they could relate to. Book fairs were eagerly looked forward to, and the gleam in their eyes, seeing the vast variety of books, was truly heartwarming. When they were past their teens, they were also interested in setting up a home library. This, however, did not achieve the expected success, as more often than not, borrowed books were never returned on time, if at all they were returned. I am proud that even when my daughters took up their respective careers, they still nurtured their passion for reading. They would always have a book at hand and delve into it on the way to work or whenever they could find time. They were better placed than we were, as with just a click of the mouse or mobile, they now have access to all kinds of information. My first granddaughter got hooked to books at a very early age, and I was pleasantly surprised when she correctly used the word humongous when she was just 4. I was fortunate that our children had a natural aptitude for reading and writing, but it is not always so. Some children need time to get attracted to books, and the wide treasure trove of literature in various genres, be it in the form of prose, drama, poetry, or essays, can be enjoyed by them at a slower pace. They could easily comprehend and enjoy classics, as they had simplified classics narrated to them as stories when they were children. Books are our best companions in any phase of life. They can drive away loneliness. Even if we are unable to travel or see new places, there are innumerable books serving as armchair travelogues, and with just a little imagination, we can enjoy the experience of a personal visit to these places. Apart from English literature, our country's rich culture has been beautifully documented in several regional languages. Culture and literature go hand in hand, and one complements the other. It may not be out of place for a big shout out for Hydra and like minded clubs, associations who go the extra mile to promote literature. To quote from Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural, Katrathu Kaimannalavu, Kalladadu Ulagalavu. What we have learnt is just a handful of earth, whereas what we have not learnt is as wide as this world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Revati ji. Revati ji's reminiscences about the challenges of balancing work and family life while instilling a love for reading emphasized how the books she purchased decades ago continue to inspire the next generation, and the practical tips to nurture reading habits across generations. Wow! Thank you so much, Revati ji. I believe this talk is an inspiring reminder of the transformative power of stories. This episode is sure to resonate with anyone who values the power of stories in our lives. Thank you all so much for listening. Bye for now.
Thank you and stay tuned.